What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a fantastic week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, I had to switch things up a little bit, but know that I am grateful for your subscriptions, your shares, your likes. You're keeping this channel growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy your higher self has brought you here. You are in for an exciting journey. Now, what I'm going to be doing this week is a tarot card reading for the week of October 30th through November 5th. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, okay? So, with that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed, made some new friends. It's a whole party here, Cancer. Now, what I'm going to be doing is pulling 15 cards. They're going to be in 5 groups of 3. The middle group is going to represent the nature of your problem. The upper left and upper right hand corners are going to be some possible future outcomes you might be considering. The bottom left is going to be whatever perspectives you might be thinking about in relationship to the nature of the problem. And then finally, the bottom right will be what messages your higher self would like you to know. And in case you all are curious, I'm using Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck. The art on these cards are so cool, so I'll make sure to show you those all throughout. But with that being said, higher self, what do we have in store for Cancer this week? Let me get your cards pulled, and we'll get to it. Oops. Okay. Awesome. Let me get these cards organized and then we will get to it. Well, for however long they're going to stay organized. For those of you who are new, you'll see in a minute. Okay. Okay. All right, Cancer. So, for the nature of your problem this week, pulled the 10 of Wands here. And then the cards that came along with it are the Ace of Swords and the Magus card. So, or should I say the Magus? I feel like I never pronounced that correctly. So, with the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands, that's some heavy wisdom being dropped at you right here. Definitely one of my mindfulness cards. And really, I want to put some extra emphasis on this one because the 10 of Wands in particular, really of what I've noticed, really of the minor arcana. This one has to be one of the more sort of destructive, that has a tendency to lead to more kind of destructive reactions. And when I say destructive, like, it's that kind of energy where it's like you're feeling a lot of, I get a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of emotions that maybe we don't like to bring up to the surface, but that definitely that doesn't mean the fact that they're there. You remember what I say about not dealing with things? You want to know what's happening down there? That's festering. It's festering and festering and becoming something. It started out as one wand, but now look what happened. We got 10 of them. What happened, Cancer? And when I say destructive tendencies, like, I don't mean anything like necessarily too crazy. Like, I'm talking like in terms of flipping tables, throwing your phone, just wanting to just pull your hair out and scream. That is 10 of Wands energy. Because it's this place where, you have, it kind of feel, imagine, when I picture this one, imagine like you got a pot on the stove, there's no water in it, and that thing is just cranked up to high. What's going to happen? There's going to be smoke, a lot of just an overall mess. And when I feel like the 10 of Wands pops up here, it's to, and it's actually very appropriate considering the season that we're getting into. I feel like it's just to bring up how do we respond to these energies here when we're in a state of frustration, when we're in a state of anger, when we're in those real kind of hot energies? How do we respond to that? And is that our initial response? Are we flipping tables, Cancer? Are we throwing phones? Are we, what are we doing? Because we don't want that. Because, what happens when you go about the Ten of Wands, when you match destruction with destruction, what do you think you're going to get? More destruction. And that's never the ideal. But it's like, it's not what the Ten of Wands wants, but it definitely wants us to shine some light on that. It's just like, hey, maybe this is something that you've been oppressing, or that you've some kind of repressed feelings have been bubbling underneath the surface, and it's finally come to show its face, because now that it's here, Cancer, we gotta face it. But that's not to, I feel like don't be discouraged by that, because with the Ace of Swords here, mainly, this is what I'm really feeling with the Ace of Swords is that this is going to be a card of, one of the meanings can be that it's like strength through tough times. And like really like that kind of having that know-how to recognizing that this is what is happening. It's different than just like a, oh, you just need to be strong through all this. Just shoulder this, Cancer. No, I feel like this is very different. This is one of those things this is something we need to get some clarity on, so that this doesn't bleed out into your environment. So that this, let's get some. Ten of Wands wants you to have a more healthier response to that, to those hot emotions, because imagine we're a water sign. Picture the ocean, and what's happening when you got all those hot things, those intense feeling. That water's gonna boil, and it just feels like it's getting under your skin, and you just don't know what to do. That's what the Ace of Swords is coming in. It's like, hey, let's find some healthy impulses to go about when these feelings come up. Maybe we need to, for me personally, I find meditation works for me. Maybe you need to go for a walk, maybe we need a workout, maybe we need to stretch. But I feel like it's one of those things, it's not something, if you sit in it, all that's going to happen is just that fire is you're just sitting in that pot, and that water's, now we got a little water in it now since I pulled the ocean in there, but that doesn't mean it's still not bringing the heat. And we have to, I feel like sitting in it isn't, unless that's how you got to deal with it. We all process things differently, but I feel like for some, I feel like a good, just some things that I've noticed for myself, let's say personally, it's just like I have to get those things moving. So finding out whatever tricks that you need to help to assuage this Ten of Wands energy, and to use that strength and that knowledge that you get from that to apply that in the future. And I feel like, and that's an interesting combo with the Magus card being here, is that normally this is like my card of kind of having fun while you're manifesting, but I feel like more so you're picking up skills here. You're picking up some like it's really, the Magus is telling me coping skills is really what I'm kind of getting with this whole combination here. And I've not read the Magus like that, but this is one of the things that the Magus represents. Picking up that skill, gaining that knowledge. It could also be too. One of those things that it's when you're going about dealing with this and finding, some more healthy kind of impulses to, or healthy ways to address this Ten of Wands energy, to kind of remember to, I feel like this should always be kind of important, over whatever he represents at the time. I do feel like all the time he represents that happiness, and whatever you're doing, when you're finding the skill, let's be kind of light of heart with it, because this is some intense energy right here. And I do feel like when you're coming at it, you can't come at it with frustration, with some, this is compassion more than any, not that you shouldn't show compassion all the time, but I feel like compassion is extremely emphasized here when you're dealing with this stuff, because anger happens, frustration happens. It's not a weakness, Cancer. This is you trying to figure out a strength has been discovered, and it needs to be harnessed now. It needs to be refined, and that's where look at how this Magus. Look, now we're having a little fun with it. Now we're putting some different spin on it. Now we can do this, Cancer. We can definitely manifest this to our will and get it to where it's working to our favor. But I will say, before we move on to some future stuff, definitely take this time to yeah, to really figure out some kind of skills. I feel like to dealing with this Ten of Wands, because this is I I feel you on this. And really, it's all gonna make sense once we get later get on to some later stuff. Yeah, this kind of energy will make sense because this is not just happening just cause. Um, let's see. You know what? Let's go to, let's start here. Let's start on the upper right. Let's move on to some future stuff, Cancer. Uh, we'll talk more about you. You're the center of attention. Calm down. See, see, and look at that. Now we're having a little bit of fun at a time, Cancer. Stuff. And you know what? Don't force it too. That's a you know what before. That's one more thing I feel like I should emphasize here. Um, don't force it. That's another recipe. That's how we get an 11th wand, if that's at all possible. We're not going to manifest that. We just want to get to where we find healthier ways to deal with this, and we might need to deal with this by again, maybe it might be that time to get into that meditative state. We got good old Hangman here, the Two of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. So my Hanged Man. This is my card, redemption through sacrifice, new perspectives. But I feel like for some, maybe we're seeing the Hanged Man in a more kind of somber light. We might be seeing this. Maybe this energy's got us feeling like, we're kind of like we're punishing ourselves for maybe how we reacted to a situation, or something that's gotten it where it's just like you're not feeling whatever. Before we realize that we need a healthier ways to channel this energy, Cancer, maybe that ocean of emotions, someone turned the heat up and then it got under your skin, and now it's just like, oof, it's time to, we need to hang and think about what was said. Maybe some things were said, maybe something was done. Again, judgment-free zone. You know how I feel about the Hangman. If any of us get caught up in a Hangman situation, I'm gonna be hanging right there with you. But I do like that too. Maybe if we're focusing on this, if we've been beating ourselves up in this Hangman situation, this is not what the Hangman is meant for. It's a time to reflect, like to recognize where errors might have been made, and to grow from them, to develop new skills here, to get some fresh perspectives on the matter, to assuage this fire, because that's all the ten of wands wants. It's just it doesn't want to be hot all the time. No one wants to be like that, because that's a lot of energy to be expending. And I do feel like once we've taken this time, kind of figured out where that is, and not really look at this as a punishment, or that you deserve to feel this way because, or some way, or however it is, wherever we're this kind of that sort of like defeated mentality. I feel like it's one of those things. Don't be too hard on yourself, because there's going to be that balance coming. The Two of Wands is really, now we're going back to the beginning of the wands. We were here, and now let's start fresh. I like that. I like that this kind of popped up here. Let's reestablish our domain here. This is a card of dominion, but it's also a card of just like balance, kind of like a balanced power in a sense. Kind of getting that control over your fire again. Figuring out where we can where our energies, our bodies, our minds, everything is just back in alignment again, and then we can go out and start doing things again, as opposed to feeling like we're just stuck in this Hanged Man situation. And I do feel like with this with this card, it's more so about we're trying to get some control back. The energies have been running way too hot, and now we're trying to bring it back down to a simmer, a little more manageable, so that we can deal with this thing properly. And then that way we can take our new established domain, our nice, calm, powerful, very powerful energy. This is Mars and Aries, so this is some really good, strong energy here. We can take this new established energy, get that control, and then pour it into this Ace of Cups here, and then kind of now we're not just trying to smother this fire. We're soothing it with this Ace of Cups here. This is a card of this is the root of the powers of water, being cups. That's what cups represent. But the cups also they represent emotional matters. I'd like to put fulfillment, emotional abundance, but this is I feel like we gotta plant a new seed. We've been here, and now we've taken our skills, we've been learning some things, we've got that strength, and now we can take this and we can apply some of this, and apply, see how we're doing it gently, because we got to be careful when we get into these more kind of reactive type of energies. It's something I feel like you got to treat with care. And the Ace of Cups, I love that this popped up, because this is a good card to. It's a very calming card for me, very soothing, very tranquil. You just want that happiness, that fulfillment. We want good vibrations. What's my motto on this channel? We keep raising the vibration. We don't want to stay in that low vibratory state, where we're just like beating each other, beating up on yourselves, or maybe possibly even the person that you feel might maybe even wronged you. I'm not saying there's no who's wrong or right in whatever the situation may be, but if we keep replaying that imagery in our head, that's just feeding that fire. So now we can get to where we're getting more kind of healthier ways of channeling this energy. We can be like, okay, I see it for what it was, and now maybe you can give it some time, take what it needs, and then when the time feels right, if there was another party involved, or however the situation escalated, we can come at it with a bit more calm, a bit more nurturing, that be the fun loving, nurturing Cancer that you and I both know that you are. And you know what, that kind of leads me nicely over here. Let's move over to this left hand side, because you have the Five of Cups here, the Three of Disc, my lovely lady, the Empress here. Yeah, I feel like we've been. That's it. That's what the Five of Cups is. Yeah, but this is my card of disappointment. I really feel like maybe you're disappointed in someone else, but I feel like more so disappointment starts. At least for me personally, I feel like when we're disappointment, because that's a hard word I feel like to put on to someone else. I think more so it starts with ourselves. Did we respond to this how we should have? How did I Five of Cups? This is very past living type of energy. I've been trying to I've been starting to kind of talk about those energies more as kind of in terms of past and future, and thinking about that, how that applies in the present, because the Five of Cups is something that you're dragging on your back. This is like, man, I shouldn't have said this, or maybe I should have said that. Oh, I would have got my point across this, or this feeding into that spiral, something feeding into trying to change something that's already happened, that's actually going to fix anything. And I know that sounds a little harsh, but when you think about it, it's just like when I talk about future concerns. When it comes to past concerns, this has already transpired most of the time. Maybe this is maybe nothing's happened yet. So if I've caught you early enough, Cancer, let's get on this quickly. let's do this thing. Let's get some coping skills. But if the shoe is dropped, it's one of those things. Learn from it. I felt that even as I said it. I'm not saying this lightly. We gotta learn from it, and we gotta keep it moving, because we can stay stagnant here, but how you feeling right now being staying in that? We don't got time for that, Cancer. Or you know what? I take that back. We do. We have all the time that we need for it, but regardless of however much time it's going to take, it's going to take some work. Three of Disc. I love when Three of Disc pops up. I know this card is definitely more nuanced than I put it off to be, but this really is my card of it's whatever is going on is going. You got to put in the work. It's plain and simple. And I love all this. We'll talk about that later. But with this Three of Disc, I do feel like this is really asking you not just to say that it's going to take work, but I feel like really to kind of welcome this work, like how I was talking with the Magus card. to welcome that work with a little bit of enthusiasm, so it doesn't come across as this like arduous thing. So I'm not just like, get to work, Cancer. No, I want you to do this because you want to get better, because you don't want to you want to get out of that reactive state. You want to be where you're proactive. You want to be to where, because these 10 of, like I say with all my other mindfulness cards, 10 of Wands is going to happen, but it's one of those things that if we can catch it right as it's happening, we can address it a little bit differently. We can handle it like Empresses, because the Empress is one of my boss cards. She's super bossy. I love her. The Empress is a card. She represents Venus here. She's a card of beauty, of good fortune, of aesthetics, of happiness, of graciousness. She's just a I love her energy. It's really, really Cancer and Empress has a lot in common, because it's very nurturing energy that the Empress is trying to bring. And I really feel like with her popping up here, she's just trying to say, she's normally my self-care card, and what better way to show self-care than with some compassion. And I really feel like some compassion for yourself, because the Empress sees this. She knows what's going on here. This is tough. She's not going to tell you otherwise. She's been through it. It happens to the best of us. But every day she recognizes it. She gets up, still just as beautiful, still just as wise, because she's taken the time to develop the skills. And that's where we need to get at, Cancer, where we can channel into our Empress energy, so that we're not reacting anymore. We want to be proactive. We want to be proactive like the Empress. Who doesn't want to be like the Empress? When I grow up, that's what I'm trying to be. Well, that's what I'm trying to be along the way. Ultimately, we're trying to get to where our higher selves are at. But while we're on this fool's journey, all of us together, I like to make some pit stops, and kick it with the Empress every now and again, because she does remind us to kind of take it easy on yourself. Take this time really just like, hey, it's all right, buddy. It happened. Here, let's sit among. You can sit with me amongst the moons. We'll just talk. We'll pour a little tea, and then we'll talk about it. That's what the Empress wants you to do. Now, okay. I had to take a drink of tea. She invited me. Now, with where your head might be at, some perspectives we're thinking about, and oof, Cancer. This whole story is all coming together. Princess of Swords, another mindfulness card, 5 of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. Now, I can't make this up. Princess of Swords. I'm not sure if I pulled the Princess of Swords in the past with Cancer, but Princess of Swords, let me preface with, she's a smart girl. Absolutely love her. She's cunning. She's witty. I love the energy that she brings. But when she's in that 10 of Wands state, even when she's in that 5 of Wands state, homegirl is she'll be on one. And I say that in the sense of like, she gets in this mental, she represents the energy of when we let these energies, as 5 of Cups, 5 of Wands, 10 of Wands, and even if we're focusing on more of if we're even taking our Hanged Man situation and kind of being negative, she takes that. It's very destructive logic is if I had to say what her weakness is, what our weakness is, strengths waiting to be discovered, but they have to be discovered first. And that's her thing, is when she gets in this state, it's destructive logic. You remember how I was talking about when we get angry, flipping tables and whatnot? Look at that. We've set our towers on fire, and it's just a war zone. It is, everything is hitting the fan right now, and she's just coming at it hot. But when you look at it, it's just her in this. There's no enemies here. There's no one's like, at least at the moment, no one's out to get you. I feel like these are the things that when we get in that state, when we're angry, when we're frustrated, we feel like we feel like the victim, and we feel like that it's like, well, how come they did this? You know, how come all this is happening to me? And then she's fighting. then she's fighting. She's making very unattractive noises. She can't speak. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. And this is, again, this is why we're taking this time. We're helping her out. You know, we're getting those new coping skills because she is frustrated. She's frustrated, and that's all it is. And it's like, and see, once you put a word on it, and it, again, I'm not trying to make light of it, because when you're in it, it's a whole other animal. But it's when we're out of it, you know, or when we start to take our first steps out of it. That's what the Empress wants us to do. Kind of make light of it, because the Five of Wands is my card of frustration, a card of strife, struggles. It's just like, you look at this energy here. You got your Four Swords, and even with these Ten of Swords, like your energy is balanced down here. You know, but there's this. You got one bar that's getting in the way here. Who you think that is? Getting in the way of this energy that's really got this. Well, here we've multiplied. You remember how I said if we ignored it, now we went from having one wand getting in our way, now we got two wands. How we've separated into two is a mystery, but we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on how we can get this, how we can throw. Where'd you go, Ten of Cups? Wait, you're an ace. Still can't talk. Ace of Cups. You know, how can we assuage this fire? And I'll show you how. We come into our Queen of Wands energy. Because check out this Queen of Wands. Cool as a cucumber. Oh, girl, I love the Queen of Wands. Even when the fire, it looks like there's this, you know, it's, oh, thank you for bringing my metaphor home. See, even though she's got all this Ten of Wands boiling at her feet here, trying to come at her, chill. Her cat, chill. Everything is chill. She is the watery part of fire. The Queen's bit representing water, the Wands representing fire. And you know, this is one of those instances where you know, she's calling upon us to be in that calm, in the faces of adversity, you know, when we're getting these, just drowning in stuff. You know, the Queen of Wands is just like, excuse me, everyone. This is not how I operate. This is like, not in the sense of like, I'm not dealing with it. It's just like, everyone's going to have to take a number, and I'll deal with you as it comes, because everything is in order here. You know, she is in control. She is proactive. She's not reactive. Because can you imagine if this could, I don't even want to imagine when she is not cool. Because it's big old fight. Wait, where'd she go? Look at that princess. Even the princess ran. I couldn't even find her. But, you know, it's just, we get into that destructive logic again, you know, but, you know, I do feel like with her coming on, you know, this is her signifying that, you know, that you're not at the mercy of your emotions, Cancer. And that all it's going to take is just trying to find that control again, find your authority, find that ground. How do we calm this ocean? Because right now with this Ten of Wands here, things are bubbling, you know, feelings are hot. But I do feel like with it's coming. Your head's in the right place here. We're thinking about some good perspectives here, because the Queen of Wands is definitely one. She's her. I mean, really, I would have liked to even throw a little Queen of Cups in here, which to say we don't have to, because where do you think these queens learn all of their this grace? Each of them picked up a little note from the Empress here, and that's to say, you know, why I talked about the Queen of Cups before. I'm gonna talk about her real quick, even though she's not in here, because I feel like it's very relevant to your problem. The thing, and she's one of our cards. She's one of Cancer's cards. With the Queen of Cups, she's like she's calm in the sense, very similar to the Queen of Wands, but she's impressionable to the Queen of Cups is impressionable to the influences of other cards. So you would think like, oh man, so she's going to take all this on and she's going to be a mess. No, she takes it all on, she calms it, she stills it, and then sends it back out. and then it becomes part of her that it becomes part of that scenery, that calmness. It just adds to that tranquility. So I feel like that's what we're trying to manifest here with the Magus card. We're trying to get to that place where we can take all these energies, take these three here, feed it, and then get that Ace of Cups again. Plant new seeds with this wisdom that you've gotten from these cards here. You know, building and then watching that explode and fill your world back up with that happiness, that abundance, that productivity, all of that. You know, we can start back moving again and then channeling our energy properly. Okay. Oof, that was a mouthful. Let's move on. Higher self, let's get you talking for a little bit. And I love where your higher self is at. So, because now I don't know where the cards are at. So with the messages that your higher self wants you to know, I pulled the 4 of disc, the 9 of cups, and the 2 of cups. And what a great end that this is. So with this 4 of disc, the 4 of disc is a card of, you know, getting your power back, finding that foundation, that stability, just getting some order back, some law and order back in this world. See how this now our sea is not bubbling anymore. We've managed to get it into a nice kind of confined space, and now we're dealing with it. You know, we're taking that time, we're getting our strength back. And that's ultimately going to lead to your happiness. You know, finding these little tips and tricks. I feel like in each of these cups, it's every time we get one of these here, we're throwing a cup at it. And then we're going to throw it in this first cup, and I'm going to put this one in this cup, and I'm going to get this cup, and then we're going to take the wisdom from it, and then we're going to spread it, and then we're going to be happy again, because we are what? We are proactive, not reactive. And we're happy while we're doing it. And remember, on top, bring it home, higher self. Show yourself some compassion through this whole thing, because this is tough. Look at that! I barely even get it organized, but this is tough. You know, I really feel like this is going to call upon you. You got to show yourself some love. Start with this cup here, because if we're going in with this 10 of Wands, this energy, and we're not we're being reactive, bet you this is going to bleed into these cups, and then that's going to bleed into your ocean, and then we got a mess, Cancer. But look at that, we got Venus here. This is Venus in Cancer. Venus showed up again. Venus was just like, Cancer, not only am I going to show how we get along, I'm going to show up there to show you how we get along, and we get along beautifully. We come together, we fix this cup, because this cup is you, Cancer. We focus on this cup, get that balance in there, and then that abundance, where'd that Ace of Cups go? That's your Ace of Cups right there, this middle one right here, and then watch that's bleeding over, and then we're eventually getting into this 9 of Cups, and it's just a lovely, happily ever after. You know what, I think we can go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and switch back over. All right, Cancer, so yeah, last thoughts. I hope that for those of you who this all resonated with, and really, I really want that message to kind of resonate with all of you, in the sense that, you know, when we do get in this place of when you feel like you're losing your cool, or haven't quite, you know, you feel like you've been in that more reactive space. I feel like this could be applicable to just about anybody's situation, but, you know, don't force it. But I will say, yeah, take this time for yourself, deal with these issues. It's okay to feel to feel that, you know, and really feel it, and then learn how to deal with that, so that when it happens again, you're just like, Empress. There you go. Let that be your mantra. Whenever it comes up and you feel like you're getting ready to just rip somebody's head off, Empress. 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 Okay. And now something's good. Hopefully you can get a little laugh out of that. You know, whomever's witnessing this you might need to explain further. Don't stand there looking crazy, Cancer. But not that you're crazy, you're amazing. And yeah, I do feel like that's going to help you in the long run. So yeah, please subscribe, like, share, and oof, to get a better understanding of all of this. Check your moon, check your rising, and especially this week, let's check our Mars, where our Mars placement is, because the Mars is going to be how you react. And why so much emphasis on this Mars, Justin? Because Mars showed up in Celestial News Weekly. I'm trying, Cancer. You came at me with some heavy stuff here, so I'm trying. I tried to take that energy. It's like, how are we gonna do this? Because that was a little heavier than I was expecting. But I'm also, if you're in it, this may sound crazy, but I am glad that this got brought up because this is one of those things we're in that time. Mars is in retrograde. That's why I brought this up in the news. This is let's just get into it. Let's figure out why these feelings are popping up because it's not random, Cancer. You know, you got Mars in retrograde here. Starting today on the 30th, and it's going to be in till the 12th. I've been telling people it's good till the 12th, but while we're still getting our little tricks, our little coping tricks here, let's try not to get into any fights at least until, let's say, really not ever, but if we have to. If we're getting into like some healthy debates, maybe let's save that for like end of February, early March time. That seems like a safe time. Okay, news, so I can get you out of here because I'll have you here all day. With the Mars being in retrograde, Mars in itself, it represents our how we present ourselves outward. How we go about activities, our sex drive, our aggression, our anger. That's all in Mars's wheelhouse. And with it being in retrograde, hold on, watch out notes. Feelings of oppression, frustration, turmoil, strife. Mars is like, you got what? We got 15 wands here. We're cranking that heat up, cranking it up. And you would think Mars is doing that just to get a rise out of your, Cancer. No, it's Mars has a funny way of getting wisdom out of us. It just wants to bring these things to the surface so that we're not causing war and all this, so we're not just destructive all the time, so that we can have healthy discussions and, express our anger and things in more healthier manners than to just have that initial, like, knee-jerk reaction. Ooh, scared me a little bit. We don't want that. We want to be able to come with that calmness, with that clarity, with that like, hey, if this is an imaginary person I'm talking to, hey, you've wronged me. I didn't appreciate that. I might have done blah blah blah, but you've done X, Y, and Z. Let's talk about this. Now we've established like a safe space. Mars wants us. That's a good thing. Mars wants us to establish. Thank you, Mars. Wants us to establish safe spaces. For these kind of situations here. That's all that Mars retrograde is to be about. This is not meant to scare you. Just meant all this stuff that's going on. Just meant to make you better. Strengths waiting to be discovered. Next thing, it's going to be the first quarter moon on November 1st. And this is just kind of like checking in, thinking about becoming stronger in the task we need to get completed. Because we just had the new moon not too long ago, and that's usually time to get some kind of plant some new seeds here. Plant these aces here. And how are we going to take those energies going forward? This is kind of like our check-in spot. Are we still kind of in line? Where's our energy at? Do we need to take a turn somewhere? Is this dead ending? Where are we at? It's kind of do some like critical analysis here. Make sure that life is on track. And yeah, and that's it. just make sure that everything is going well. That everything's going to according to plan, as within our control. Now that's it on like the main type of stuff here. So I'm going to get into some aspects real quick. And these energies are good at least from today, at least going into through the week. Most of them, or a couple of them, are probably at least a little bit longer. But first one, you have Jupiter conjunct with Neptune. And when celestial bodies are conjunct with each other, that's kind of the strongest blend of energy that two bodies can express with one another. So this is a good time for to maybe embark on some creative endeavors right now. Maybe, oh, and I hadn't thought about that. That might be one thing that maybe we can channel all this frustrated energy into, and disappointment and whatnot. We can channel that into something creative, because this is a good time. This is like your imagination, all the stuff is just like expanded, and now we can feed this. So whether it's in music, in art, in sculpting, whatever it is, where let's just get into this place. We're done destroying things. Let's create some things. Let's get some stuff and get some happiness back into our world. Let's try to feed this. That's beautiful. What better way to help deal to really hone in on this Magus skills here than to do some good old-fashioned manifesting. Sometimes, so let's go back to the basics. Let's just really do that. I like that. 2 more things in your surprise card. We're getting closer. Saturn. If I didn't say this, they're all from today. Saturn is squared with Uranus, and when two bodies are squared with one another, the energies are going to be a little more conflicting. So we got to get creative with it. Good thing you got Jupiter conjunct with Neptune on your side, but this is kind of a time of out with the old, in with the new. There's this feeling of either you want let's say you've been stuck in this and you're just trying to force the change. It's just like, I'm tired of it. I want to get out of this now. And then there are some of you like, oh no, no, my world's good. No, everything's fine. But then all the outside influence, and then Mars comes in retrograding and trying to shake things up. You're like, back off. No. Well, the thing with both of those signs is change isn't listening. Change will come in when it's ready, and not in a bad way. It's just like when transformation and all these things are coming, it's gonna come how it's gonna come. If you try to force it, you can't force it. You're just like, change. Change is just like, I'm almost ready. Give me like 10 more minutes. And then if you're just like on the other end, if you're like, I'm not trying to, I'm no, go away. Everything's fine. That's transformation knocking. That's change. Hey, everything is, for the most part, pretty great. I just want to come in and take this real quick. That's all. I just want to take this and run. Oh, okay. Let change take it and run. And take it and run. We're almost there. Lastly, with the, I hope that point, I think I made my point there. With Jupiter is going to sextile Pluto. Last thing. Oof. Help me, planets. And when something is sextile, the energies they're flowing smooth. We're here. Everything is groovy. And Jupiter's doing a lot of work this week. But this is kind of you coming into like your sense of power and your command, and like you're feeling that influence. You're really coming into yourself. You're coming into, oh no, I lost my girl. Well, yeah, girl, here she is. We're coming into our Empress energy here. And normally these kind of when I think of like power, command, authority, those kind of things, normally I think of the Emperor, or, the thought would be that's Emperor energy. But I've been trying to emphasize, Empress is just as bossy as the Emperor. You can still come into that authority, into that command, but how it looks is different for every person. But this is also a time too, while you're coming into this sense, getting this, really just kind of coming into your own sense of power and just your own sense of authority and whatnot. This is a good time to kind of find like kindred spirits to kind of help support that and to help build that. I'm not one to say that I'm a fan of healthy competition too. But I feel like this is more so less of finding a competitor and more of someone who's going to lift you up. Someone who's going to, it's about, oh, I see you have this skill and then I have X skill, and then I can help you grow in this way, you can help me grow in this way, and then we're just doing that. And then we're just inviting people along the way. We're building a soul tribe here. And I feel like that's with this Jupiter sextiling Pluto. It's helping us get to, because when you're trying to do all this, it can be a lot when you're shouldering this stuff by yourself. And sometimes it is good to get some fresh perspectives. And what better place to do it than with your soul tribe? Get some fresh perspectives, help get you out of this space so that we can go from merely surviving to thriving in all of this, so that we're really getting some good growth, so that we can find our happiness. I love it. Thank you for sticking with me, Cancer. Let me get you your surprise card so we can get you out of here. Nice. Love this girl. Queen of Swords. Now, this is the clarity that we've been looking for. This is exactly what we've been looking for. She is the liberator of the minds. So you see that? This is 10. See that? That's 10 of wands. That's 5 of cups. That's 5 of wands. She's like, hey, you've served your purpose, but I have a look at this throne. Do you think I can be weighed down with all of this stuff? That's not what the Queen of Swords is about. She's gonna take this stuff, learn the lessons from them, and then she's got to sit back on her. She's got a sky to defend here. She doesn't have time for all of it, or she does. She's giving them time. She sees them for what they are, the strengths that need to be discovered, and she's going out and winning. She met up with her friend, the Queen of Wands, and they're going over to the Empress's house for lunch. So let's go get lunch with the Empress, Cancer. I guess that's one way to bring it home. But I do hope that this all resonated with you. I hope you liked that. Stay strong. Know that you are not alone in this. While you're going through this, I'm right there with you. And so let's keep raising that vibration. And until the next one, stay safe, and I'll see you later, Cancer.